Good evening, everybody. Once again, this is the UFC 137 post-fight recap with Senator Thunderheart. And tonight, man, what an event this has been. Not only was the event good, but I'm also happy to be back in this environment where I belong at the moment until I can find something better. This has been the best place for me to do my post-fight recaps, especially after being in a sports bar, watching the events with some friends of mine and so forth. Here I am, and I'm back in my comfortable spot. So, now that I got that clear, I'm going to get right to it. Now, Dustin Jacoby versus Clifford Starks, and the winner is Clifford Starks, unanimous decision. Chris Camozzi versus Francis Carmont, and the winner is Francis Carmont, unanimous decision. Ramsey Nuem versus Dan Downs, and the winner is Ramsey Nuem, unanimous decision. Now, this bout right here was very good. Brendan Vera versus Eliot Marshall, and the winner is Brendan Vera, unanimous decision. I mean, now this is the first time, of course, Brendan Vera has been back since really getting his ass handed over by Diaz Silva, as you can recall. And he also ended up with a broken nose and everything like that, but he is back, even though, sure, there have been times during the fight where Eliot Marshall really had him rocked really well to a point where we felt that he was going to get knocked out. Many people felt that. I felt that. And yet Brendan Vera just kept on coming back with not only some punches and kicks, but some wrestling, push against the fence, some octagon control, and actually some couple of takedowns and beating him down and so forth. But in any event, Brendan Vera comes out on top with unanimous decision victory. So congratulations on that. And this next fight features Tyson Griffin versus Bart Palaszewski. Palaszewski. And the winner is Bart Palaszewski via knockout with a successful debut, mind you. So congratulations, Bart Palaszewski, on the knockout victory. I mean, basically what it all boils down to is very simple. Even though he came out with some weird haircut and everything, well, don't let the weird haircut fool you, because let me put it this way: he came out swinging. Of course, he was first a little cautious, so was Tyson, but as soon as he got the rhythm going, he was actually able to hit Tyson. Tyson was able to hit him a little bit, but not as much, and as a matter of fact, he even got him cornered in the fence, where he kept on swinging, like throwing bombs and so forth, and he was throwing and Tyson was throwing bombs back, but he was actually landing more of it, to such a point where he actually landed a big hook right to his face, to a point where he was going down, and he actually hit him again, and the guy just wobbled, went down, and he just kept punching, and then so the referee stopped the fight. It was considered a knockout victory. So successful debut by Bart Palaszewski. Palaszewski, for a UFC debut. So congratulations on that. And this next bout actually features two great lightweight fighters, and definitely Dennis Siver versus Donald Cerrone. And the winner is Donald Cerrone via submission, and that one submission of the night. So congratulations, Donald Cerrone. I mean, this fight didn't take long either. I mean, the two great boxing greats in the MMA were, basically testing each other out, and then they started throwing kicks and punches at first. But, of course, what happened was, basically Donald Cerrone set up not only the first round kick to kick him near the stomach for the first round kick, roundhouse that is, but then he actually caught him not only to the face, he did not caught him with his feet. Instead, he actually caught him with his shin. That really, the hard part of the legs really hit him right in the square of the nose, really rocked him to a point where it was the beginning of the end, and he was stumbling, trying to take him down. But what happened was he hit him some more. He really went down, got him on top of his back, slapped a rear naked choke on Dennis Siver, really fast, really smooth, and really technical, and then forced him to tap out. So congratulations, Donald Cerrone, on such an awesome tap out victory. I mean, Dennis Siver was such on a roll, with so many wins, and so is Donald, especially ever since coming from WEC. Now Donald is really on his way up. And then Siver, he'll have to go back to the old drawing board in a sense, but it's not like he's hurting for too many losses either. I mean, that was his first loss in a while, and so that was a good showing on Donald Cerrone's part. So congratulations on that. And in this fight right here, Hatsu Hioki versus George Roop, and the winner is Hatsu Hioki split decision. That was an excellent, excellent fight. I mean, let me put it like this. It started off, with them standing up, and I will tell you this. As far as the stand-up game is concerned, George Roop really had that down a little bit better than Hatsu Hioki, but when it came to ground game and then the rest of the grappling game, it was Hatsu Hioki that really came up, in the upper hand on this, and it was also his debut too, as far as Hatsu Hioki is concerned. So that was a successful UFC debut from Japan, and then on top of that, of course, Hioki was not too bad in the striking either. I mean, he threw some good strikes in, where he actually busted him up a little bit there, but. Of course, George Roop did more, but the only thing that really got it going for Hatsu Hioki was not the striking techniques, but it was the fact that he was able to not only take him down a couple times, but he was also able to ground control him and also control him on the fence. But the problem with Hatsu Hioki that George Rogan even called upon was that he did not he wasn't trying to look for a way to finish him off as far as submission. I mean, he may have tried to, but you see, another problem with that sometimes is I don't think his training camp is actually really getting him to really get focused on grounding and pounding him to actually set up the submissions. You see, and that's where I think Hatsu Hioki and some of the other grapplers have lacked as far as the submission specialists are concerned, or judo practitioners and so forth. So these training camps have got to get to a point where they got to get their fighters to start grounding and pounding a little bit more, so they can have better setups and better ways to really win a fight, whether it's via TKO, knockout, or really set them up for a great submission win. I mean, that's what this is, the MMA basically. I mean, if this was a straight jiu-jitsu match, that would have been that. If it was a judo match, that would have been that. But this is MMA, so they have to train these guys, especially as great grapplers as they are, to start doing more grounding and pounding when they get them on the ground, so they can actually get the submission better that way. So, but in any event, great successful debut from Hatsu Hioki. And this next bout was also another great one. This was actually a little bit more of the opposite of the last one. Scott Jorgensen versus Jeff Curran. And the winner is Scott Jorgensen, unanimous decision. I mean, now this was more of a very technical fight. I mean, we want to talk about stand-up striking. They had that. They had great stand-up striking with great boxing, great leg kicks, but they also had great ground and pound, great takedowns, great wrestling too. Especially Jeff Curran, being the jiu-jitsu practitioner, expert that he is, more so than Scott Jorgensen. But Scott Jorgensen has also improved on his jiu-jitsu and his grappling to such a degree that he was able to escape any attempts of Jeff Curran's submission attempts, that is. And on top of that, too, Jorgensen was not only doing some strikes of his own to hit him, and Jeff Curran was actually doing some good boxing, but at the same time, he also had Jeff Curran did some takedowns on him as well. Matter of fact, actually, it was Scott Jorgensen who actually did most of the takedowns, and it was actually Jeff Curran who actually did most of the great defense on that, if anything. But it just wasn't enough to convince the judges or otherwise, because Scott Jorgensen really did a great job in taking him down. He was doing the attempts grounding and pounding and so forth. And at the same time, he did more than enough to get that victory. So congratulations on Scott Jorgensen on that. And this next bout is featured Mirko Cro Cop versus Roy Big Country Nelson. And the winner is Big Country Roy Nelson TKO. I mean, this actually went to the third round, believe it or not. And I actually thought that, I really had an idea that Mirko was going to lose, but I never thought it was going to take this long for Roy to get him, because basically Roy had him taken down a couple times, especially actually the first time in the first round, and then had him down, and then not to mention he took him down a couple times in the second round, and especially when he actually had Mirko Cro Cop in so much trouble near and mostly of the second round. And not just with his, but actually Mirko Cro Cop actually had him good to a point where he actually had him in trouble in the second round. He was uppercutting him, not to his face, not to the jaw, but also to the stomach too. But Roy Nelson he's tough. I mean, that's how he could take some good shots. And not to mention the fact that he's lost some weight, so he's actually looking better than he was before. So obviously that really helped out with Roy Nelson in so many ways. And so he wasn't tired very easily at that. And then he even had him in a crucifix in the second round and had him hit him so many times. The only thing that saved him in the second round was the fact that, of course, he kept on squirming out. But when the third round started happening, basically he had Mirko Cro Cop's number. Finally had him in a good shot to a point where, Mirko Cro Cop went down. He actually went on his back, just kept pounding, ground pounding him to his head, and the referee stopped the fight. So congratulations, Roy Nelson. And then Mirko Cro Cop announced that he's finally done, and he's going to retire from the sport, and I'll talk more about that later. And in the co-main event, Cheick Kongo versus Matt Mitrione, and the winner is Cheick Kongo, unanimous decision. I mean, let's just face it. In the very, very, very first round, nothing was really happening. I mean, they were just all testing each other, running from each other. Well, Matt Mitrione was a little more of the aggressor. He was really testing him, trying to play head games with him. But, of course, the only thing that really did was got the audience booing, if anything. I mean, that was the most boos I've heard in any event, the whole event in the evening. This is the co-main event. The co-main event should not be having so much of these boos. But Cheick Kongo finally came back and started, swinging. Finally started getting a little more aggressive. Matt Mitrione did the same. But Cheick Kongo did a little bit more in the second round. And on top of that, too, Cheick Kongo really took Matt Mitrione down in the third round and really started to go and really got to work on him. So, and when it all said and done, he got the victory, Cheick Kongo. So Matt Mitrione has got his first loss now in the UFC. So congratulations, Cheick Kongo, on this. And in the main event, that was actually supposed to be featured Georges St. Pierre defending his welterweight title against Carlos Condit, but of course Georges got injured. So, but even though he was in the audience, he was out, representing himself in the fight in the MMA. And I'll explain more on that in a bit too. But BJ Penn went against Nick Diaz, a former WEC and Strikeforce welterweight champ. And so basically, it was a 3-round war. It was basically a 3-round war. Of course, the winner that came out of this was Nick Diaz, unanimous decision. I mean, it was just basically a boxing match, what it all boils down to. Sure, it was a jiu-jitsu clinic a little bit in the first round when BJ took him down, but then Nick rode right with him, tried to catch him and so forth, because they're both jiu-jitsu practitioners to the nth degree. At the same time, though, it just wasn't enough to really beat each other. Of course, BJ Penn was hitting him until the bell rang. But when it all boiled down to the last 2 rounds, Nick Diaz really had him. I mean, with boxing, he just threw some combinations, wicked combinations to his face, to his head, just wicked combinations. Yeah, Nick Diaz was bloodied up, but man, the BJ Penn loved looking worse than Nick after that. I mean, and BJ Penn he wasn't reacting fast enough. He wasn't hitting them as, with any combinations as much. He just kept on winning to throw big shots, but he just wasn't doing it. Nick Diaz was just doing so much more with combinations throughout the whole entire fight, basically. So Nick Diaz really got the win, and so congratulations, Nick Diaz, on that awesome victory, and welcome back to the UFC, by the way, officially. And so, in that respect too, then BJ Penn also announced that he's basically done and he's retiring. So while I'm talking about this, we go to Mirko Cro Cop and BJ Penn. That's really your last fight, for good. Then I just want to thank both Mirko Cro Cop and BJ Penn for basically giving your all in the mixed martial arts and being a great example of what a fighter and a warrior should be in the mixed martial arts. So I definitely am thankful for your presence, and I'm thankful for what you guys have contributed to martial arts in general. So good luck on your retirement, and I know you guys will be even greater teachers as you are as fighters, because I know you'll be training great prospects for other generations to come in the mixed martial arts sports. So, and as far as Nick Diaz is concerned, let me put it this way. Make it short. Nick Diaz basically called Georges St. Pierre a coward, basically saying he's not really hurt, he's just faking the injury, he's just scared. Nick, let me tell you something. He fought your friend not too long ago, Jake Shields. Now, Georges St. Pierre actually went and hurt, actually, when he fought Jake Shields. And he beat Jake Shields, even though it's via decision, but your friend Jake Shields, the expert jiu-jitsu, just like you are, couldn't get it done. So, yeah, you may want to play a little mind games, and that's fine. I know you're hungry for the title and you're hungry to be the best, but I don't think Georges is scared of you or Carlos Condit or anybody else. So, I don't think what you're trying to pull, but all you did is make Georges St. Pierre laugh, if anything. You're just being a funny guy. And so, and like I said, you're really good. But let's see if you can get it done once you do get a shot against Georges St. Pierre, because you had your chance, Nick, but you blew it because you did not show up to our press conference. It was your own fault for that. And so don't be getting angry at the rest of the world because you didn't get a title shot because of your own foolishness that you pulled, not showing up to our press conference when you were supposed to. So, any event, I'm just going to call it a night. I just want to wish you guys and everybody a happy and safe Halloween weekend and day this coming Monday. So take care of yourselves and be safe. Healing is all that is.